Right, we are back, and as we kind of already teased it a little bit at the start of the episode, today we're reviewing one of, I'd say, let's just make some statements at the beginning, right? one of the greatest debut albums for an artist, maybe one of the best hip hop albums of all time. Who knows? Okay. But yeah, it's the 25-year anniversary. I think it was last week of Jay-Z's debut album, Reasonable Doubt. And yeah, I feel like we both kind of came to this album in different ways, right? Like, I think I first heard it maybe 5 years ago when I started my kind of late entry into music. But yeah, I guess kind of we can start right at the beginning, right, with Jay-Z's kind of his kind of intro into music, his kind of background, how he came to be, Roc-A-Fella, all the rest of it. So yeah, where should we start there? I mean,
cool. If you don't know who Sean Carter is, I literally just imagine you're one of those guys who likes like watching traffic lights change color, and you're just here just to, I don't know why you're here. I literally don't know why you'd be here. Maybe you're literally just wanting to be like the fools we mentioned at the start, and you just want to be like, oh, actually, I think this is about Reasonable Doubt. I've never heard it. Maybe you're one of those guys, and if you are one of those guys, you know, get the fuck out of my sight. So I'm actually, John's being too nice. I'm not doing an intro of literally one of the biggest artists to ever exist in the genre. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, I'm just not going to do that. Anyways, however, it's the 25-year anniversary of his debut album, Reasonable Doubt, which we're covering today. So again, huge landmark in the, I guess, space of hip hop, space of music in general. Definitely feels like the little album that could. Definitely getting to read that reasons before. So I think the funny thing to start with Jay-Z's career, right? Because obviously, let me just get a bit of a joke out the way, right? Because people always like to say this. So you know when people say, oh, you know, you could be whoever you want in life, right? Jay-Z, he dropped his first album when he was 26. Motherfucker, that doesn't mean he started rhyming at 26 years old, did it? Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know why they always do that. Like, Jay-Z was probably rhyming. He literally says in his autobiography, Decoded, which I actually read when I was in college. He literally was rhyming for when he was a fucking kid. Like, don't ever get it mistaken. Like, he started rhyming at 26. Like, oh, actually, I just don't want to be a drug dealer anymore, and I'm just going to start rhyming. I'm just going to pick that up as a side hustle. Like,
he'd been rap battling for like over a decade, like since he was a kid, and he would beat every single person. He was like, didn't even have any, what was it, Memphis Bleak, I think. Yeah. We'll get into talk about him a bit more later, right? But Memphis Bleak was like, I'd be like, or Memphis Bleak, or was it one of the guys that he started Roc-A-Fella with? Yeah.
I think it's Ty, yeah.
It was like, oh yeah, like I'd be like talking him up so much, like he wouldn't be there. I'd be like, oh yeah, he's gonna like kick all your asses. And then Jay-Z would turn up and be like, oh shit, I better do good because this guy's been talking me up. And they would just beat everyone every time.
Literally. So again, if you want to actually, you know, pursue something in your life, don't just think, yeah, I'm just gonna wait till 26 because that's when the, you know, rap's biggest billionaire did it. Like, don't be baiting into shit like that. And on top of that, that is a 1 in a million case for every one Jay-Z. The rest of them are still drug dealers. Like, don't take that advice. And if it was up to Jay-Z, I don't think he would have waited until fucking 26 to release his album on his own because no one else would fucking sign him. You know what? Let's just start there, right? Let's just go there. So, again, what's so interesting about Jay-Z's career is that, again, it didn't start off the way everyone else thinks it probably would. Everyone saw his talent early. Everyone knew he was going to be a star. That was a complete opposite. Yeah. He found it very hard to make his inroads in rap. Yeah. And I think a large part of that is if you kind of look back before he did Reasonable Doubt, his whole rapping style was completely different. He was very much of the times. The double time flow, and you know, trying to do all that. They've seen doing a lot of these tongue twisters. I don't know, you've probably seen some of the videos. So do you think that played a big part into why people just didn't give a fuck about him at the time?
Oh, 100%. Like, if you listen to any of there's that really classic one, which I know you could, as soon as I start describing it, you'll hear it in your head. The one of him where it's like camera panning down on him and he's like probably like 16, 17 and he's doing like really fast little freestyle. So yeah, all of that like very, very late 80s, early 90s. Like if you go and listen to like Eric B and Rakim or like pre-jail Slick Rick, like even like Ice-T, like any songs by like 6 in the morning or something, like it was that, like you're saying, double time, the like really staccato bars, the like 808s that are like acoustic like drum set. It's all very much of the time. So yeah, like his sound hadn't developed at all at that point, although he was like featuring on tracks from like the late 80s as well. But yeah, like you said, so he was kind of like under the mentorship of Jazz O. That's right, yeah. And then obviously had like these other connections and stuff. And like you said, I think this is probably down to like Clark Kent. Yeah, like one of the main producers on the album. Like he kind of, Jay-Z had like sent him some music while he was working at like Atlantic Records. Tried to get a deal for Jay, and then didn't work out. They passed on him. And Clark Kent as well. Yeah. Clark Kent obviously also discovered Ski at the same time while he was working at Atlantic. And then he obviously went on and was in a little duo, wasn't he?
Yes, I think he was.
Original Flavour.
Original Flavour. And he was actually on the song, I can't remember the song. He had another song, I Can't Get With That. Jay-Z. I think that's probably the song, if I'm not too sure. Or actually, was it? Or was it a Jay-Z song? One of the two. But yeah, you can obviously see the early Jay-Z in that. Like, to be honest, I'll say this. Whoever said no to Jay-Z was right. At the time, they were right. I'm not going to lie. Because if I saw that shit, I'd be like, okay, cool. Like, you know, you can rhyme, but you literally sound like everyone else, and you don't sound like a good version of anyone else. So what the fuck is this? Like, why would I sign you? Like, you know what I mean? This is like peak De La Soul, Tribe Called Quest. You know, the roots like, are up and coming. Like,
Two Facts dropping albums, and you want me to sign you?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, so anyone who said no to him in that form, I fully get it. I don't think it's one of those things where they're like, oh my gosh. Like, there was actually an interview. There was a genius interview with Biggs, one of the guys that helped start Roc-A-Fella, and he literally said, no joke, that he didn't think Jay-Z was good until his third album, 42. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is his own man. Like, so yeah. Do you know how many years later that is? That's gonna be like, what, 3 years after his debut album? Like, what the fuck?
Was this the guy that interviewed Jasmine Sullivan? Was it? I feel like he did an interview recently for one of the episodes we did. He interviewed one of the artists. But I know the one you mean, the Genius interview.
Oh yeah. He did. You're right. Yeah, so it's like the fact that his own guy said, it was only until like his third album I thought he was legit. I didn't like him when he first came out. I was like, fuck, you know, like your own people don't believe in you. Like, I mean, how hard must it have been? Fucking hell. So yeah.
But going into the Atlantic thing, the Atlantic label, like, are you aware of other labels as well that kind of passed on him at the time?
I think every single one.
Yeah.
I think from what they've said, literally they've tried everything.
Yeah.
Or the deals they were getting just weren't making sense. So the fact that they did, I don't think they ever had it in their eyes to make a record label. They literally did it because they could not get Jay-Z to be signed, and for whatever reason, I'm going to assume it was some of the clout that he had on the streets. But for some reason, they tried his hardest to get him signed. And they went balls deep into
this is kind of incriminating. We can't sign him.
Yeah. But, you know, they said, let's build this record label for an artist that cannot get signed by anyone else and literally bank our whole lives with it. And, you know, whatever, it worked. But I'm pretty sure there's more to that. So, so I think... I think a lot of people said no. I don't think it was just them. I think Def Jam probably said no. I think they only had the distribution deal with Def Jam. But I think a lot of them passed on them. And knowing Jay-Z, and this is just a pure assumption, but obviously given his like love for like artists like A Tribe Called Quest, he probably tried to get signed to like Jive as well. Yeah, probably didn't work out either, or RCA, whatever. So I kind of get it. But obviously, you know, he drops Reasonable Doubt. And again, it was meant to be his one and only album, which is kind of crazy, but I kind of get it looking back. And like we mentioned earlier on, it was a dud when it came out. And obviously, a lot of people are like, well, you know, the people who are like, you know, our age in '96 just didn't know any better. But let's give some context here, right? Because humans just aren't that stupid. So I've got some albums that also dropped in '96, and I'm gonna read this list and. Kids at home, let's see if we can keep up. So we have the Fugees, The Score, known as one of the best albums of all time. Tupac's All Eyes on
All
Me.
Eyes on Me, yeah.
This is one of the best albums of all time. Outkast, 80 Aliens. Listen, is one of the most, literally one of the most influential albums hip hop has ever seen.
Yep.
Nas, It Was Written, the literal golden child. The guy
Some say it's better than Illmatic, but anyway.
Literally, the 2 years prior, he dropped what was the first 5 mics from the Source.
Yep.
A Tribe Called Quest beats Rivals and like literally peak Tribe. Fair enough, you know. Again, this is not, you know, it's not low in theory, but people still love him. The Roots, Edadel, Half-Life. So this is just before things fall apart.
Hip hop, The Roots. That's
you know what I mean? So literally, I just put 7, right? Like literally 5 of them are listed as one of all time greats in the genre. 96 was no joke. So the fact that, you know, this album got passed down to the side, even looking now retrospectively, it still makes sense. It still makes sense. Like if someone said in this whole list that I said that Reasonable Doubt was like the 5th or 6th best album, I can get it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I think yeah. What do you think of that concept, Sean? Do you kind of feel like listening against his albums, it makes sense for you just thinking fuck about it?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you're like this guy, reasonably unknown, like hasn't dropped a huge amount of music that was like like critically acclaimed, then why on earth am I like buying his album? I haven't actually got a reason to go there, especially because, you know, at this time it's kind of at the almost at the like peak of that, you know, golden era, the late 80s, the early 90s, and all of these classics are dropping by established artists. Why am I going to go spin this guy Jay-Z's album? Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, literally makes sense. But yeah, so I think just give it. I think that's. But again, at the same time, we are doing a lot of like meme and stuff like that. But I think again, you know, I think Jay-Z will probably agree himself. This is part of what makes this album so special, right? Because it feels like all the cards were stacked against him. Like this didn't feel like this guy was ever really gonna make it in any significant way. And then literally drops Reasonable Doubt. It's like, oh my gosh. And also, years later, and people did catch up quite quickly. Like I think it went platinum by like 2001, 2002, or whatever. But it was gold for the rest of the 90s. So you know, so like it got there eventually, you know. But so I guess okay, now we kind of set the context, right? So the album drops, and okay, so let's do like initially, right? What do you think makes this album great to begin with? Why do you think people like it now, or why do you think people grew to like it over
this album, like in the context of all his other albums? I think one of the things is you can kind of just like hear that, like you mentioned earlier, right? Jay-Z, I mean, not only does he say this is like, he thinks this is his best album, but like it felt like it was going to be the only album he made. So in that sense, he kind of just like put everything at it. There wasn't a huge amount to lose, I don't think, because, you know, he wasn't already at the peak of his career. He had such like a great like team around him, like so many great like personnel. He had a great relationship with a lot of the producers and a lot of the people, and it felt like a group effort, if you get what I mean. Because like he's come from like selling albums out of the back of his car with like Dame Dash and Big is it Kareem Biggs? The other guy, yeah. So the three of them, and like, you know, I think one of them produced one of the tracks as well, and like it feels like a group effort. So I think in that sense, it's just iconic. Like the production on it as well. We'll get into that a little bit more. But yeah, it just feels like there's that like raw, like unfiltered Jay-Z, where he's still kind of got like, let's be honest, he's got 2 feet in his illicit trade, and then he's like, yeah, I'm gonna make an album as well. It's not 1 foot, he is 2 feet in. So there's that like raw element to it, which is, I know this is something that like, you know, we lament when we listen to us, we're like, oh, you know, they're just like so raw and unfiltered at this point, and then they became successful and didn't make as good music. But I think that's why this one's particularly special. And I will say one other thing about this is that mix of it, because he's still involved in that and the music is like a side project, like a passion project, right?
Yes.
Then he's able to, and he describes it as, isn't it like spoon feeding someone described it in the title documentary as like spoon-feeding sugar to the audience. Keep doing it, and then one of those spoonfuls, there'll be like a bit of like knowledge or a bit of wisdom or a bit of self-reflection, like introspective wisdom, which I think I love about this. You get it on songs like Regrets or the
Evils and stuff like that. No, for sure. No, I agree with everything you say. I think for me, like, what makes this album like just kind of it's so iconic, so fucking iconic. It's the fact that it literally feels like you're watching like the Scarface film. Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like you're watching like one of those, like, I think the fact that the cover's in black and white is absolutely, because that's literally how I know it's what is that word where you can like see the color of music? What the fuck
synesthesia?
Yeah, there's a bit of that to it where it's like when I hear it, it just feels like I'm just watching a film where it's like, oh my gosh, yes, this is what if it was a black Scarface, exactly how I feel this would be like. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Or The Wire or something like that. So so I think there's just this perfect blend of like, I'm very aware of the world around me. I'm very proud of being black. I'm very aware of how what I'm doing is affecting my community and how it's going to make people treat me different. But I'm still a fucking gangster. Yeah. And there's just that to it. And it's a perfect blend of the two. Like, if Nines was from Marcy Projects, I feel like he would drop an album like this, because it's just so perfectly rooted in like self-awareness, but like, I don't give a fuck because this is the environment I came in. Like, I'm very aware. Like, he's not like, he's not one of those guys like, I don't know why I'm a gangster. It's just, I grew up like this and here. Like, he's not one of those guys. Like, he's like, yeah, I know exactly why I am like this. I'm perfectly comfortable with the decisions I made. Do you know what I mean? And if this music shit don't work, then you know what I'm on. It's fine. Do you know what I mean? It's fine. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people gravitated towards that over the years. Because I think a lot of people, I think one thing we even talk about when we talk about like his legacy later on, the thing about Jay-Z is that because he showcased both, like, because you only have to do it once and people know you can do it, because when it comes to especially lyrical ability and poetry, it doesn't just disappear. You don't just become shit at putting words together, like, especially if you're continuously doing it. So all the conscious artists like Lupe Fiasco, or you realize they never shit on Jay-Z. If this album didn't exist, I think a lot of people look at Jay-Z differently. It's because you get those lyrical miracles who are like, but Jay-Z though, he did drop that Reasonable Doubt and he did keep it gangster. And you got obviously all the gangsters who love him. It's like, he's a gangster, but he's not stupid. So it's like, I like him for that as well. Do you know what I mean? So I think literally, like, I don't think there's a person who, and he's just very, and obviously the girls just love him because he's fucking charismatic as well. Yeah. So it's just like, he's everyone's guy in a sense. I think that's what I get from it.
Yeah, 100%. What's a kind of like good entry point? Let's talk a little bit. I mean, I mentioned the personnel earlier, but like, as everyone knows, we both love production here as well at the Vinyl Collective. But yeah, like I think it's interesting the amount of producers there are on this. Like, there's a good like 5 or 6 named people on here. We'll probably like get into them a little bit more later, but yeah, I mean, starting us off, like, you had DJ Premier, who's produced a couple of tracks on there. Obviously we mentioned them already, Ski, and then Clark Kent. We had Nobody, who produces the first track with that little skit at the beginning, and then Big Jazz and DJ Urs. So yeah, it's even if you haven't heard these artists, if you go back and look, like, these guys have produced like a lot of music other than just Jay-Z's Reasonable Doubt.
Also, especially DJ Premier. Like, everyone fucked up 2 years.
I mean, one half of Gangstar with man, I've not forgotten his name.
It's blanked. It's Guru.
Oh, I'm sorry, Guru.
Yeah.
There's 2 of you. Yeah.
But you know what's another funny story about these fucking producers as well? Just like cements Jay-Z's legacy. Yeah. The fact they all got fucking paid in cash.
Yes.
Like, straight cash.
Brown paper bag with the cash in it.
Literally. And this is back in the 90s as well. Yeah. So literally, if they ever got stopped by, federal forces and / or otherwise, they would have been done straight away.
I can't remember which producer was it on talking about. Like, I was getting like the train home with this bag of cash. He was like, if people knew I was in there, I would not have been around. Like,
yeah. But it's true, like literally, like how do you explain away like fucking tens of thousands of cash? Oh, I'm just a producer. It's like what the fuck? Like what the hell is that? But because Roc-A-Fella Records obviously started off on uh, not so clean fundamentals. They're like, you know what, this is my perfect way to get rid of some of that money. So you know what, shout out to all the producers who were like, fuck it, I'll take that money anyways. Sorry. Fuck me. That's the thing about this album that's so funny. There's like it's so authentic in everything about it. It's like no, he really was in the streets, and there's something about, especially to the listener, and I find it very conflicting. Right? There's something so like there's something so alluring about when you know someone's saying the truth, like fully the truth.
Yeah.
And also a lot of these stories just kind of further cement. It's like, damn, this guy really, really was about it.
Like he doesn't need to like glitz it up or none of this. I mean, I'm not gonna name artists, but yeah.
Go ahead. Let's get into the songs. Where do you want to start?
I don't know. We can do a little run through, give a little bit of time to some of the songs, or
just start anyway. Really, we'll find out. We always find out where.
Okay, I'm gonna start with If we look at some of the features on there, I'm gonna start with Brooklyn's Finest.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's a good one to start with.
Because I think this is going from what you just said about he doesn't need to glitz it up, like he's telling you the truth. Like this is a crazy thing about this song is that I feel like the beat, because the beat's from Clark Kent and from Damon Dash, right? The beat is so disarmingly like upbeat. It's not particularly like dark or it doesn't kind of invoke any of the imagery in later songs, but like it's kind of busy, you know, it's like layered. They've got various vocals going on. There's like a piano loop, and then the two like Biggie and Jay-Z are just like trading these verses that are like gruesome. And I think this song is perfect to start with as well, because there's like that element of like passing the torch on, even though they didn't know they were doing this at the time, because obviously Biggie, R.I.P., would die like within 2 years of this coming out, right? So at the time, obviously, you know, Biggie's the biggest, you know, he's at the top of his career. The next year he releases Born to Die. And, you know, I think like if Biggie hadn't died, like would Jay-Z have kind of reached the pinnacles that he did in terms of like being, you know, the biggest and baddest in New York? Do you think?
One of the biggest conjectures in hip hop, isn't it? Like a lot of people still grapple that question. I feel like the way I see talent, right? I feel like if good true talent would have always come around, does that mean he would have been number one? We never know, because again, just because Biggie dropped a couple good albums, does that mean he would have been motivated to do it again and again?
I feel like you have to ask the question. I know it's a stupid one, but you have to ask it.
No. It makes sense. No, I don't think it's a stupid question, because, like, okay, let's say it could have been like Biggie and Jay-Z number 1 and 2 for the next 5-10 years. It could have been,
because I think the answer is it would have pushed them more.
100%.
Just in the same way that Jay-Z and Nas and their feuds, Nas always said like it actually benefited them because it pushed 100%. them. It brought the best out of each other. So I think
100%.
Yeah.
And outside of the diss tracks as well, by the way, I hate when people do that. It look like literally Stillmatic's a classic, and so is Blueprint. But anyways, I think you never know, because you never see these guys play it out. I think people just assume, like, they think it's just linear. Like, because their first couple albums are good, oh my gosh, if they got to their 5th album, they would have been amazing. It's like, okay, what if they just got bored of music, or what if they got arrested, or anything else can happen? I mean, life happens in many ways, so you never know. I think Jay-Z would have still been Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Would he have been the first dibs to, like, record deals or clothing lines and stuff like that? But then again, Jay-Z was always someone who, like, the fact that Jay-Z started off by himself with Roc-A-Fella, I think a lot of this was always going to happen, because it wasn't like he was dependent on Biggie to make it. It's not like Biggie signed him, he didn't. So, you know what I mean? I don't think it would have made much difference in Jay-Z's legacy, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, the song is obviously it's legendary for the fact that there's those two rappers on it, but I think it's nice seeing the contrast of them as well, like in their rapping styles and their delivery, right? Because obviously you get Jay-Z, who's got this kind of like sharper, like really well enunciated kind of like beat lyrics, and then you've got Biggie, who's kind of like rounder, like a little not making a horrible joke here, but like the do you know what I mean? When you listen to the vocals, it's like rounder. He's like more laid back, and you can like feel his like presence there. And yeah, I've got to quote this line, right? Hit your back, split your fuck fist fights and lame scuffles, pillowcase to your face, make the shell muffle, shoot your daughter in the calf muscle, fuck a tussle, nickel plated, sprinkle coke on the floor, make it drug related.
It's crazy. Isn't it?
It's like if all of that wasn't enough, sprinkle coke on the floor, make it drug related.
Yeah, I mean the chemistry on this album. I mean, not this album. Sorry, this song is like off the charts, right? You can tell this is just literally a day out for them. Like, and they keep passing it back and forth.
They're even sharing verses, and then Biggie will have two verses uninterrupted, and then
like
mad.
Honestly, like it's so like when I hear this song, it sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like they're in like the private VIP section of a club. They're popping champagne and they're just like telling the girls how they're like the baddest guys in New York City. Like that's the vibe I get from this song. Do you know what I mean? So, and it's just, again, like you're saying, like the lyrics are so ruthless. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's like, we're so Brooklyn about this. Like, you know what I mean? We really do this. And one thing I've still never really kind of fully resolved in my mind is that Tupac line when it's like I think if she has two kids, she have two Parks. Get it?
Tupac.
Yeah, and I was like, is he dissing him or is he not? I still fully don't understand that. I was like, okay, but what does he mean by that?
Because is this at the point where they're still friends? Or is this before they were feuding?
I'm pretty sure Tupac's passed away at this point, no?
What year is this? This is 96.
Yeah, he died 96, didn't he? Oh, I got that wrong.
Yeah, no, he died in September.
Oh, okay. And this came out June.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, maybe they're friends by this point. Who knows? But yeah, very hard to tell. I fully don't get it, to be honest. We'll have to see.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, no, honestly, good song. Good to have him on there. Yeah, no complaints really. Just rappers do what rappers do.
Yeah. Do you wanna hit us with another feature song?
The feature song. Okay, cool. So actually, I'm gonna go with one that probably my least favorite song of the album. Let's just get this one out of the way. So, Ain't No Nigga. So the reason why I don't like this song is not because it's bad, right? Okay, it's not bad. It's just outdated. And I have to be honest with myself. And yes, guys, see, another thing that people never do is like, your opinion on music is also a function of time. Like, it's not just like frozen in time forever. My opinions of the same exact song can just change over time, and that's fine. Doesn't mean like it was wrong before. So, I think, when I was younger, I loved this song. It's like, but then the hook, I just don't like it. And I don't think there's anything that will make me like it like more. Like it's okay. Like the verses save the song.
It just doesn't feel
like I just don't like it. I think Foxy Brown definitely kind of stayed on theme, so that was good. Production's so 90s as well. So that little it sounds very it sounds like it was the same sample that was used in Every Ghetto by Lauryn Hill a little bit. I actually don't know. Is it true?
No, I'm just saying I can see that.
Oh, yeah, it's that little bum, bum, bum. And obviously it's the same with Every Ghetto. So I don't know, but like, it's very minimalistic. It's, it's just, I get it. But then there's got a couple lines here. I won't lie. When he's like, I've been sinning since you've been playing with Barbie and Ken, and you can't change a player's game in the ninth inning. Like, he has a nice little lines there, but cool. I mean, it was good. It was a good moment for Foxy Brown, but probably if it was any song, again, I don't dislike it, but if there's any song I'll do about, it's probably Ain't No Nigga. Yeah. What do you think?
I can see that as well. Like you said, big moment for Foxy Brown. She like released her debut album that year.
I didn't know that.
I feel like she's massively underrated, man. Foxy Brown.
You think so?
Yeah. I think so. I think she's a great rapper.
Literally, even though when everyone brings up female rappers, oh my gosh, Foxy Brown, I definitely listen to her. It's like, I mean, everyone says Foxy Brown.
I do listen to her.
I mean, no, I'm just saying, that's what people do. So,
are
you saying the streets are lying, John? Is that what you're going to say, John?
Yeah, I am. I've never met anyone that's listened to a Foxy Brown album. But yeah, no, I don't like the song, and I do like the song for the sense that like because of all the like ad-libbing and stuff, it feels like a very social, you can like imagine the social setting, right? And just a bunch of people just like chatting shit and like just talking. And I can see, I enjoy it for that sense. But yeah, I'm definitely one of the songs I don't listen to as much. But again, I mean, if I listen to this album front to back and I'm not going to skip it, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's one of those ones.
Yeah.
Fair.
It's a funky beat though, and it's jazzo that makes it.
Okay, fair. Yeah. Okay, cool. Fair. That's my other feature song, really. Actually, let's pivot a little bit because we want to get through some of the bangers, right? Cool. So I'll give you guys a little teaser, a little insight into the inner workings of the Vinyl Collective minds. So when one of our working titles way back when we were making this podcast was Politics as Usual, and yes, it was based off the song by Jay-Z because we can't think of a song that we both very enjoy, but also encapsulates the show. And for Politics as Usual was one of those songs. So obviously it'll be no surprise for me to say this is probably my favorite Jay-Z song of all time on my side. I'm not even gonna say it's the best one. It's just my favorite. Like it's so addictive. But I will probably say it's the best as well. This is where, and I get a lot of people's pain about this because it's so frustrating. Because the way he's rhyming on this, he's never done it since, and he never will. But it's so ingenious.
Yes,
it's honestly, it's one of those ones where it's like, how did everyone miss that at the time? Like the way he's rhyming is absolutely bonkers. So I think I've mentioned this a couple of times.
You talked to me about it, and I can never explain it as well as you do. So go for it.
It's so mad. So he does this thing where he starts the next like sentence of the he basically starts the sentence of the next bar with the last couple words of the previous one, but then they can also work without it as well. It's really, really, really technical. So he has one where he's like, y'all feel the nigga struggle. So it can literally stop there. Then he continues the line saying, y'all think a nigga love to hustle behind the wheel trying to escape my trouble. So if you just take the line, hustle behind the wheel trying to escape my trouble, that's just one line. But then you literally say, you can literally add the previous words and be like, oh, you don't think I love to hustle behind the wheel, escape my trouble. So he does that multiple times. It's not just something I made up. Like this is the intended rhyming scheme. He does this multiple times throughout this song in particular, and it's like, holy fuck, that is honestly, it's one of those ones where it's like, how did you even? I don't know who created that. I'm gonna assume it's Jay-Z. I've never seen anyone do it like Jay-Z has, but it's like that level of like ingenuity. It's like you have to just give him his props straight off this. The beat is so chill. It just works. Even though it's
fantastic.
It's so simple, but it just works. Oh, and another thing about this album, the sampling is so good. So fucking good. It's placed so well. I think another album I gave this credit to was Big Pun's album, Capital Punishment. It's the same feeling I get. Where it's like every time there's a sample, it just makes sense. And just even though the hook is just a sample. Like it's just a sample, it just works. I don't know. There's something about this album that's very great in terms of sampling. But this song, he has like again, check the internal rhyme schemes. I'm telling you guys, like it's worthwhile studying it because like
I'm gonna cut you off there because I know what you mean, and it's a lot of rappers do it, but they don't. It's in like poetry GCSE when they're like in teach that little French word enjambment, and you're like, oh shit,
that's exactly what it is. But
I think you're right in the sense that like, you only understand line A if you read onto line B. But the way you're saying he takes it to the next level is that line B works without line A. And that's where rappers don't do it. Because every rapper, every singer, every poet, that it looks fancy, right? If like line A leads into line B. But the fact that they work independent of each other is what's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
And the fact that the beat's so off kilter, it's a crazy
song. Like, and this is where again, I think this is where the lyricist fans of Jay-Z really kind of take their stock, because it's stuff like this where it's like and I've always said this about great music. It's just you don't even have to explain it much because it's just right there in front of you. And this is one of those songs where it's like, holy shit. There's another line that I just thought was nice that Pusha T takes as well, when it's like, ain't no stopping the champagne from popping, the draws from dropping, the laws from watching.
The games we play.
literally, exactly. So just a banging song. Like honestly, I cannot get enough of this song. So yeah,
I'm with you. I think it's one of the like most special beats. I think just because of the way it's so technical to rap over. Like imagine if that came up on like Funkmaster Flex and they're like, "Can you freestyle this?" Yes. No way. No way.
It's true.
Take that away from me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so. Yeah, Ski and Clark both came up with beats for this song, using the same sample. Because Ski put it in first, that was used. So it would have been interesting to hear what Clark came up with. But I can't agree with you there. I feel like that's such an iconic line as well. That ain't stopping there. I feel like any rap. I feel like if you ask most rap fans who like, they really, they're keyed into it. They'll know. If you start that, I'll be able to finish it for you.
Yeah. Cool. Take us to the next song.
All right. Okay. Where should we go next? Are there too many? Okay.
I mean, there are quite a few. There's 15 tracks of this. So.
No, I'm trying to decide where to go.
Oh, okay.
Let's go. Bring It On.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
DJ Premier beat, like we said earlier. So yeah, he's got a couple beats on here, but yeah, this one feels like one of the more simple beats on the record, instrumental wise.
I'd agree.
It's very DJ Premier. It sounds like something he'd release with Gangstar. But yeah, it's got a nice kind of like string loop going on. I'm a fan of it. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't kind of taken in the lyrics as much, so it's more the production that I was kind of keying into. But yeah, what were your takes on this song?
No, I get you. This is probably, I think it's the longest song on that album, if it feels like it anyways. And again, I think one thing Jay-Z does here that he doesn't repeat ever again is that I feel like he gives a lot of props to current rappers in this album through the sampling that he's done of them. And kind of see his influence. So I think this one is a big, like, I get like It Was Written vibes, or like The Firm and stuff. I get that type of vibe from it where it's like just guys just rapping. It's a very like the beat sounds like something I would hear on like a Nas album. That's kind of vibe I get from it. But yeah, and again, it feels like something out of a Scarface film. Like you can just see is it violins? I feel like it is violins in the background. But yeah, no, I think both the features were absolutely amazing. Shout out to Jazzo, shout out to Source Money in particular. Just the way they were saying things was amazing. I think Source Money said like something like said was garbage, so fuck college, street knowledge, amazing to scholars when we coin phrases for dollars. Like, oh, like Jesus Christ, like this guy's just going off. Like, and also using the Fat Joe sample. I know you're not a big fan of him, but fucking works for this song, mate. Oh my gosh. So yeah. Even though it's one of the longest songs, it's definitely at the end. I think it's definitely more for like the hip hop heads, I guess you would call them. It's like you just like straight rap, but love it. Literally, it fits the whole theme of Reasonable Doubt very well. Yeah.
Right. Should go next. Should go with Can't Knock the Hustle.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the intro. Yeah. Start that.
I mean, a great kind of intro to the intro as well. Enjoyed that greatly.
Of course.
Mary J. Blige on this. I mean, if there's going to be one R&B artist that you want on a rap song, it's probably going to be her, and she's kind of like the archetypal, B to the A on the song. But yeah, nobody recorded this beat. He actually recorded it in his mum's house.
Damn.
That's what you're getting with this album. Just a lot of like. Just
a lot of cheap jobs done well.
But done well, exactly. But yeah, I mean, great song. So, I mean, there are too many quotes to take from it, but chrome socks beaming through my peripheral. I see you scheming. Stop dreaming. I leave your body steaming. Oh.
Gosh. Yeah. I was quite surprised about this song as well. I feel like it's quite an understated intro. Like, it's very slow. Like, don't know, it's a good song. Like, it's almost like an R&B song. It's like, okay, this guy is like, he's introducing himself to the world. He's not coming out with like a banger. He's coming out with like calm, measured, slow R&B singer on a hook. Like it's very, do you know what I mean? And I think that wasn't really the thing back in the day, and it still isn't really now. Like maybe if you're really popular, you can get away with it, but most people come out the gate, you know, track 1, track 2, it's like bangers. But also you got to hear Can't Up the Hustle, Politics as Usual. It's not Brooklyn's Finest. Like if anything, people put Brooklyn's Finest number 2 with the put Politics as Usual further down. Same Can't Up the Hustle. Like it's quite a slow song to start off with, but just a lot of things he's saying, and I think this is again why people like Jay-Z. It's like he's saying a lot of things that are like very. It's kind of, and again I feel like this is very Tribe Called Quest-esque of him, where he's throwing out these little quotes where he can just kind of take a little gem from them, like oh yeah, he said this, oh okay cool, he said that, and it's like, but at the same time it's giving you like insights to who he is as a person, and you know what his status in the game. You know, it's like, you know, and even like, and again, I feel like there's a slight undertone of black pride in this album, where he's like, you know, when he's trying to talk about the issues of why they're like drug dealers, it's like, you ain't having it, good, me neither, let's get together and make the whole world believe us. Like little lines like that, it's like, that's what I really like about this song. So very understated, but I think it's a good way to kind of build people into what to expect for the rest of the album. Yeah. To be honest, obviously Mary J. Blige kills the hook, so no complaints there really.
Yeah. Where do you want to head next?
I mean, there's a couple songs that you cannot literally leave the show without talking about. So I'm gonna state the next 3 songs we should talk about really. So that is The Evils to Can I Live. So first and foremost, The Evils. Oh my God. This song is fucking insane. Like, oh my God. Again, let's start off right. This, another good use of sampling where he's using the Snoop Dogg line and the Prodigy line for the 2 bars. Yeah. Fucking sick, by the way, whoever did that. Who's the producer for that, John?
For The Evils, I think it might have been Ski. No, it's DJ Premier did The Evils. Okay, yeah. My bad.
He did. Yeah. Oh, shout out to Primo on that one. Again, I feel like, he kind of steps in like this. I feel like out of all the songs, he fully steps into like the ruthless side of him. Like, I am not even trying to be this like, let's make it out the type of guy. And I think and I think this is why maybe the everyday person likes gangster rap for some reason, because there is an element that kind of transfers over. And one of the lines that I really like from the song, and I think everyone likes this song line, you know, whoever said illegal is the easy way out couldn't understand the mechanics and the workings of the underworld. Granted, 9 to 5 is how you survive. I ain't trying to survive. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's true. Like, it's true. Like, 100%. Like, it's just the way he was saying, oh my gosh. And then all he was talking about, like, you know, going to a girl's house and she's giving away the location to the guy. It's like, oh my, like, the way he says things, like, holy, like, and I always said this to everyone, I think Jay-Z is one of the like dangerous men in rap, period. Don't get fooled because he's like 51 and like, oh, I'll grow my hair up. Like, the guy's fucking dangerous, man. He's all the way off. If there's a video of like Offset just scared shitless when he's confronted about that Beyonce song. Yeah, like, don't wrong.
He's like, this guy's big. Yeah, this guy's actually quite big.
Yeah, he's an old man. You probably take him out, guys. Like, but to say there's something about him, and I think there's
an aura.
Like this, literally, there's an aura about him, and I think songs like this is like, damn, how far does it really go? Because it just taps into it. It's just, it's so menacing.
There's that bit. The bit is kind of leads from one verse into the next, where he's like, my hand around her collar, feeding her cheese. She said the taste of dollars was shitty, so I fed her 50s. About his whereabouts, I wasn't convinced. And the next line, I kept feeding her money till her shit started to make sense.
Yeah. And all while being like fucking lyrical as shit. Yes. Like, it's just, oh man, bang on. And I think that I just, again, if Primo did the sampling for this, like, fucking 10 out of 10, man. Like, it just fits the song literally to a T. So yeah,
and I think I feel like Jay-Z's one of the. Is it right in thinking he's one of the first rappers to like do the whole like Illuminati, mention Illuminati in rap? I remember hearing it before. Right?
Like, I don't pray to God, I pray to God.
Yeah.
I mean, damn. That's just a good line, isn't it? Like, gosh. Yeah, bang on. So yeah, no, I think he probably what? I mean, obviously probably not, because obviously Prodigy said Illuminati on my mind, soul in my body, and so Probably not. Probably Prodigy. So, but in terms of like probably making it a bit more popular, obviously Jay probably contributed Jay-Z to that because a lot of his name was attributed to Illuminati. So,
yeah,
who would have thought, right? I don't think he knew that in '96 though. But yeah, that's it really. Like, amazing track.
Yep.
Like, yeah. And also we're going to 22 Twos. And I want to get your thoughts on this. So when I heard this, and obviously I've liked this song for obviously ever since I've heard this album, to be honest, like 10 years or so ago. But the one that I didn't really think about, because now like the more music you listen to, the more you can kind of see where things kind of come from and what you can kind of like speculate on what influences artists to do this, because you have more knowledge of the music that's around. So when I heard 22 Twos, it reminds me a big deal about, you know, the song What from the Low End Theory, you know, when he's just saying what is, what is a Glock if you ain't got a gun, like, do you know what I mean? He's just using the word what throughout the whole song. I feel like, and Jay-Z is a massive trap fan, you can't deny that, and I feel like he's using that same kind of theme, like, you know, just using two for the whole song, and just, you know, and obviously he even quotes "Can I kick it" in the song?
Yeah, he does. You know what I mean?
So I think
cool.
there's something in there. What do you think?
I think the thing with this song is I feel like it just shows his genius, right? Because I think Ski was talking in an interview at some point. He's like that this was actually a freestyle that Jay performed at a club once. And obviously, if you know Jay-Z well, like, you know that he doesn't write his music down, and that was another thing that like Biggie didn't do. So obviously when they're both in the studio, they're both like, yeah, you too, sweet, cool, let's both just like recite the lyrics. So yeah, apparently, you know, the reception for this went down so well, like it went down so well in the club that he was like, yeah, I need to put this down in the studio as well. But that's mad that he had this idea to do this as a freestyle in the club. And then
I know,
yeah,
crazy.
Did you go through and count?
No, I didn't count. Was it actually 22?
I haven't, no.
Oh, no, I'm not going to count that. I'm not counting that. But no, good song. I mean, yeah, love a funny line. At your wake as I peek in, look in your casket. Spinning sarcastic, look at him still sleeping. It's like...
Yeah, it reminds me of that meme with the guy that turned up to his funeral just to...
Yeah, to see my Haitians, to see my haters dead. Yeah. Yeah, literally. Like, but yeah, no, honestly... And again, like mixing it in with kind of like, you can see that Jay-Z is definitely, you can see the I guess the outlook of Jay-Z when he's adding in that kind of skit of that woman saying, this is why we can't have anything, you know, because we can't act in places properly. So you can see the kind of the way his mind's working. You can see he's thinking more than just the street. Of it. And yeah.
Apparently that was done in the studio, even though, you know, it genuinely sounds like they've done that in the club.
It was fucking crazy, isn't it? So good. Like the only person I can think of who's done that well is probably the live version of "I," which isn't live, by Kendrick Lamar. Yeah. I still can't believe that's not live, because that sounds fucking incredible. So yeah, I'm sure. And also, next song, "Can I Live?" So again, like this is another one of Jay-Z's like staple, you know, transcends the genre type of songs. Obviously, J. Cole, big fan of this song. Yeah. I think he's done. Did he cover this? He covered the song on the warm up mixtape. And also, I think for a lot of people, this is one of the songs that kind of made people believers in Jay-Z. So, and for yourself, John, did it make you a believer in Jay-Z when you first heard it?
100%. I feel like it's one of those. The beat as well helps from DJ Irv, right? It's one of those beats, like it's super smooth, right? And it's just, I feel like if anyone was to say like mafioso rap, like what is that? I feel like this song is it. Like there's that like decadent like jazziness to it, where all you can think of is like, all I'm thinking of, right, when I heard this for the first time was like Al Capone, like pinstripe suits, like those guns with like the circular barrels on them, like that's all I'm imagining. And I mean the rap matches it as well. Like, what is it? Anyone that says dabbled is cool, right? I dabbled in crazy weight without rap. I was crazy straight. Partner, I'm still spending money from 88. What? He's like, yeah, he's not. Yeah, like he doesn't need this rap stuff. Like he's fine for money. He's just doing it because he's good at it. But yeah, what about you?
Honestly, like, it's one of those like staple. Like, I think literally, as we keep going into his career, 25 years into his career, I think another 10, 15 years we'll still look at these songs and be like, yeah, this is very Jay-Z. This is I guess the foundations of who he became. Again, some of my favorite, like, I love this thing. There's a lot of Jay-Z albums that I really thoroughly enjoy, right? But there's quotables on this. It's like, I think this and Blueprint have some of my favorite quotables. But then there's certain ones here. It's like, fucking hell. Like, I'll probably, like, what I say, right? I know I'm veering a little bit, right? But where I don't really read a lot of books, not in the J. Cole sense. Let's not be crazy. But like I don't read a lot of books, right? But in terms of music, I do try to take a lot of things from music and just not directly apply it to my life, but I try to translate it to make sense to me. And one thing he says here, when it's like, lock my body, can't trap my mind, easily explain why we adapt to crime. I'd rather die enormous than live dormant. That's how we want it. Like, oh my God. And he had an interview where he was talking about it, and I was like, you know, someone's literally just speaking to your soul. You're like, yes, like, do you know what I mean? Because, you know, a lot of people are like, yeah, I'll definitely go into that project I'm doing. Like, once the whole stars align, then I'll be able to do it. It's like, no, like, do you know what I mean? I'm going to do something. I'm going to go out guns blazing. Like, I'm not going to just fucking just like, I don't know, just work this regular job and, play it safe and, oh yeah, I can afford, I can go from Sainsbury's Basics to Hovis, yay. Like, I'd rather go all out. Like, I've gone to prison for this shit and all that. And like, there's a part of me like does kind of fuck with that vibe. It's like, yeah, like it kind of, I feel like you get a lot of, and again, spread out throughout this album, right? You do get a lot of reasoning. It feels like he is giving you a lot of justification of to why he is like this. Like, I don't think you leave this thinking Jay-Z's a bad person.
No.
Even though he's doing a lot of things. You do leave this album with like a huge sense of understanding of who he is. And it's kind of hard to kind of look at it as like thuggish. The album doesn't come off thuggish, even though there is a lot of thuggery in there. I don't know if you agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's on a few other songs as well where you just get that real insight into his mindset, and it just kind of makes sense. You're like, this is why he does it. Like, he doesn't. Yeah, you're right. Like, he doesn't sound like a particularly bad guy. Like,
yeah, he's actually alright.
Yeah,
that's what he is. Oh yeah, he gets the girls with it. Oh, he's actually alright. I spoke to him. He's alright. Yeah, continue.
So yeah, no, I'm with you. It's nothing more to say on that, really. Let's be honest. Yeah.
Fair. I mean, couple more songs in the graph. I mean, wherever you want to go with it, really.
I guess another song that kind of gives that introspection, Regrets, right? I think that's one of my favorite beats on that album. It's got to be. That like gospel organ type keyboard thing going on, and you've got like the really simple like drum 808 whatever. But yeah, another song that's shown introspection. Kind of like talks about his mum in the song as well. He said, my mum's crying because her insides are dying. Her son trying her patience, keep her heart racing a million beats a minute. I know I push you to your limit, but it's this game.
Yeah, no, literally, I feel like it's such a good closer, right? Like it kind of brings the whole album full circle. Because he's he's talking all this big shit, but it's like like I am a human, like. Like I'm living with some of the shit I've done, and it's not all glamour and drugs and living the life kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? For sure. It's I feel like it's such a 180 to like Friend or Foe, right? Where and the reason why I love this song as well, just to kind of bring the two in, because I know we ain't got too much time, but I feel like this song is like so fucking hilarious, right? And I don't think, quote me on this if I'm wrong, I don't think I've ever seen a rapper be so animated on a song like this. Ever. It's so natural, like bar for bar. He's not like he's struggling to do it when he's like these little things like you're twitching, don't do that. Or it's like
he leaves the little gap in between them.
Yeah. And he does that throughout
those little nuances.
Song, where he's like if this is not so, God bless. Like all these little things, and it's perfectly on beat the whole time when he's doing these little inflections. Yep. I've never heard that before. I don't know if you have. I've never heard that before.
I can't think of it.
Yeah. I feel like I've listened to a lot of hip hop, and I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. But yeah, it's just that, like, contrast to that song, which is like literally 3 songs up, or 4 songs up, or rather. It's just so funny. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna steal your bricks. Don't come in no more, though. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you. Like, I'm the big guy. And obviously now he's like, yeah, living with regrets. You know, it's hard. Like, it's just there's something about it. But it's just allure. But yeah, no. Yeah, what's your thoughts on Friends or Foe?
Friends or Foe? I mean, yeah, it's another DJ Premier, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I mean, the beat's always going to be great. There's a particular line I love from it where he's like, because I feel like he's become a bit of an art guy, hasn't he? So he's like, was it you draw, better be Picasso, you know the best, because if this ain't so, God bless. He's like, he kind of like does it. I can literally picture in the studio like shrugging his shoulders, like, well, your fault.
Yeah, literally. Oh man, yeah, like it makes you. It's like you're literally like a fly on the wall with like a drug dealing happening. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you're just watching, like, oh, someone's come in. Like, oh, they're trying to make a deal with Jay-Z. How's that gonna go? It's like literally watching like a clip from The Wire or something. Like, again, speaking of The Wire, let's quickly talk about coming of age, right? As I've gotten older, I don't know how much I fuck with this song as much as I used to. Don't get me wrong. It's not a bad song. But Memphis Bleak, you're a grown man. No, actually, he actually wasn't. I was wrong. He was a kid. I know it's going to sound bad, but it's literally true. It was a kid they found on the street and they brought him in. And apparently something crazy, like they made him rap for like 4 hours straight. Before they gave him the
thing is, like, him and his family knew Jay-Z from a very young age, right? And he said that his mum used to tell him off if she ever caught him like hanging out with Jay-Z. Because like, obviously,
was that Memphis What Ty?
That was Memphis.
Are you sure? Was it Memphis? Damn.
I'm pretty sure.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Keep going.
But yeah, so I mean, there was that connection from your age. But you said they found him on the street because he was 18 when he was on this song, right? Yeah. And then he called his own debut album "Coming of Age" as well.
Yeah.
But go on, Goff. I'm not going to stop you from your little.
No, I mean, you know what it is, because Jay-Z's, he has a famous line that he said throughout a lot of albums where he's like, Memphis, you're one hit away, and it's like, what's he though? But when I listen back to this, like, don't get me wrong, when I was younger, I used to think this song was a fucking banger. Like, it was probably my favourite song for quite a long time. But when I think of it now, it's like, it doesn't age well in the sense of like, it feels very emasculated. I'll say that. It feels very emasculated. Do you know what I mean? But then again, it also at the same time, I'll give it its props. It does sound like, if you ever watched The Wire, those at home, it does sound like the interaction between Bodie and Stringer Bell, where Bodie wants to come up and Idris is like, yeah, you wanna put in the work? He's like, yeah, I wanna put in the work. Fuck it, let's do it. There's that big feel about it. So
emasculation for Memphis.
Yeah.
Because
I'm thinking of it as they're grown men. Well, obviously, he did this when he was 18.
Yeah.
So it's like, I had to think of it in that aspect. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I mean in terms of aging well. But it's not a bad song. Obviously, the production is amazing. I like the production with this one, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, it's like a hustler's prayer, isn't it? It's like, yeah. It's
a great beat. They're like, dun dun. Yeah. It's nice. But yeah, I get what you mean. It's very much like almost a kid, between kid and teenage. Character that he's playing in it. He's like, hey Jay, you're so cool. Like, do you mind if I like hold $1? Like, he's like,
literally,
go on, kid.
It's literally that, and I think that's what makes me not love it as much as I did when I was younger. So maybe it makes sense that I liked it when I was younger.
He's like, what was it like? Hey fella, I've been watching you clocking. Like, I like your style.
Yeah. No, I like your style. What is this?
And then he's like, oh, here's some money. He's like, no, I'll ride with you for free.
Yeah.
He's literally like, here's 1,000. He's like, no, I'll ride with you for free.
Yeah.
I want those long-term riches. Oh, come on.
And bitches. Can't forget about the bitches. Fuck me. I think, okay, cool. So, Cashmere thoughts. I don't have much to say on that one, I'm not gonna lie. If you have anything to say, I'm just listing out my little opinions here. The bass on it is fucking crazy though. Cashmere thoughts.
I think I have about 3 songs that I haven't really written anything down for. Cashmere Thoughts was one of them. Let's quickly mention Dead Presidents too.
Oh fuck!
Because how have you let that go away?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, this was so. obviously, as people know, this featured the World Is Yours, Nas, which I feel like practically an anthem at that point. I mean, it had been released in 94.
Yeah.
And obviously this was kind of the song, right, that kind of started that feud between Nas and Jay-Z. So I can't really understand the story behind it. Like, was it just an unlicensed... Because studio albums, you have to have it licensed. That's why mixtapes have samples here, there, and everywhere.
But here's the thing, John. This was 25 years ago, where artists were not nearly so particular about who the fuck was sampling their songs. That everyone's fucking clutching their pearls, like, oh my gosh, no, my precious songs, you can't touch those. Whereas back in the day, people were like, yeah, fuck it. Like, it was, and it was also
Who's
a lot
this
cheaper.
Jay-Z guy? Go on.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, it was way cheaper just to be like, oh, can I use your song? And
Yeah.
be like, yeah, fuck it, let's go. Do you know what I mean? So that's why you get a lot of these 90s albums, they have like all these soulful samples because they're not fucking charging them out the arse to do it. It's like, you know, it helps me to do it anyways. Nowadays, if you want to get something from like, I don't know, the Supremes, it's probably going to cost you 2 limbs and a leg or something, even though back then it was literally probably nothing. So I think it was probably the same with Nas. Like, you had one of the biggest songs, and don't get me wrong. When Jay-Z did say you made it a hot line, I made it a hot song, he wasn't lying. Like, come on, he really did. I'm not gonna lie. Like, this song's fucking fire. Yeah, what's it called? Literally the way he starts it off was fucking amazing. It was like, who wanna bet us that we don't touch letters, stack cheddars forever, live treacherous, audio etc. It's like, yeah, I can't lie. After that, I'm like, yep, I'm sold. Like, yeah, I don't know if that was I actually don't know how their beef started, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's over. It's always petty stuff where beef starts, so I wouldn't be surprised. But mate, if I made a song like this, I'll die on that hill. Yeah, I'll go to beef for this song.
Yeah,
I'm not taking this song off my album. It's too fire.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, even when they like think of the archetypal Jay-Z song, this might be amongst them, right? Even 100%. And it's crazy to think that like it's a sample of a Nas song as well. But
I know.
Yeah, because It's a great song though.
Both were good songs. But yeah, come on, he took it to another level, man. Honestly.
Did he actually say that the hot line into a hot song?
Yeah, on Takeover. Yeah, he did. It's true though. It's
That's
true. I think Feelin It is a banger. What's it called? He said if every nigga in your clique is rich, your clique is rugged. No one will fall because everyone will be each other's crutches. True. Like that line. It's a cool song.
So again, fits
relaxed,
heavy bass, talks about the places. Doesn't he talk about I-90? Was it I-95?
Oh, 95. Yeah, 95. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he just talks places where he was selling drugs essentially. But we know that to be Sean Carter. But one thing I want to do quickly before we kind of close out, to be honest, because also I mean, there's no doubt. Amazing album, right? Definitely a classic. There's no when we're gonna do that discussion here. 100% a classic, 100% an amazing album. So let's do a couple favorite tracks and just kind of like, what do you think it means for like the legacy of Jay-Z and hip hop in general?
So couple favorite tracks.
So let's do 3.
I feel like because I've been listening to it so much, I feel like there are 3 songs I tweeted out last week. I'll pick another 3 because
okay, cool.
It's
Fair
easy
enough.
to. I'm gonna say Dead Presidents,
Cool.
Devils, and Can I Live?
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with those 3, and then what are your 3?
Politics as usual. The Evils. Damn, it gets hard. Gosh. 22 twos. 22 twos. Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah,
I'm with that.
But
so you get like the album in terms of like the legacy and yes, I think there's something we've both talked about. I think before this podcast as well is like it's the mindset as well that like we come to see through this album and then in later albums. It's like it doesn't matter what he's doing, whether it's music, business, art, drugs. Like the guy has a mindset, and this is kind of what you were talking about a little bit earlier. Like whether Biggie was around or not, like the talent that he had like within him was going to flourish in some sense. Whether he became a drug kingpin or he was interested in art, he'd become like a connoisseur of art and have art galleries all over the world. but he like channeled it into music, and now he's channeling it into business and other kind of ventures. So yeah, I think the album showcases that mindset and just the sense that he's like another level above, like mentally. He's very 100%. Like calculated. He makes calculations of everything, even things as simple as like memorizing lyrics, because you get that real sense from songs that he was there, like with the inflections or with the kind of storytelling, because he's just like remembering it and just like reciting it, so it feels like it kind of brings you closer to the story he's really telling. And just incredible like vision and like business chops that you get a sense of in this album. I feel like people have kind of like seen him as the kind of the first to do it in that sense, right? So you're going out by himself, making this record label with a few like friends, and that like community aspect to it as well. Like doing it himself, finding the door shut, and then, you know what, cool, we're just gonna make a record label. As we said before, you know, don't always be independent. Sometimes take that deal. But anyway, what about yourself? The legacy of the album.
I think it's one of those albums that it's not often. I know a lot of people like to add like another thing. I forgot to fucking say this. The first album was always the best albums with the fucking frauds, always. So I think this is the case where the first album, you could argue it is. I think you definitely put Black Album up there. You can put 444. I know people like to add that that's not a fucking amazing album. It is. 444, American Gangster, Blueprint, like they're all up there. So I think it just depends on what flavor of Jay-Z you want that day. But I think this literally started off a wave of like people trying to be independent for one, people looking at hip hop as a business venture too. People kind of it's because think about this album, it's kind of in the vein of Illmatic, where again you can see the influence of Illmatic from this as well, where he's rapping a lot slower than he ever did previously. Like he never rapped this slow in anything before this album, but then he's done this with a mafioso type, and the later albums have kind of have been informed by this. So a lot of now you get to the 2000s and early 90s, everyone and their mother is trying to be like Jay-Z, and that still proliferates till today. So everyone's favorite, right? Aubrey Drake Graham, right? So like he literally is a offspring of this, right? Like he you can tell from the way he makes his decisions, he is literally trying to be like Jay-Z. Like that whole idea of, I want to be like Jay-Z, I want to have my rock. Like it's still now, 25 years later, that is still the standard, and it's from stuff like this that is the case. And I think because of that, where even if the music was shit, this was always going to be a classic, because what it did for the culture as well was just unbelievable. And just the fact that it's one of those albums that the older you get, it's one of those ones that, you go back, oh my gosh, yeah, I actually like that now. So it's one of those ones that just gets better with age compared to all these other albums. It just feels like it's one of those like timeless records, do you know what I mean, where it kind of has a perfect balance of everything. So I think it might not be everyone's favorite, but I think it will definitely be the one that lives on the longest, because there's just so much of everything in it, to be honest. And it's a good kind of point for a lot of people to look at and be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna take rapping seriously because I can start my clothing line, or I can do my own stuff and stuff like that, for sure. And
I feel like as well, you get a sense in an album that in later albums, things like the Black Album and like the Blueprint, he made he made like 9 songs for the Blueprint in like a weekend, or like he made a lot of the songs for Black Album within a month. But for this, he had, I think it was 3 tracks right from this album that were taken from years back. Like he'd actually made a few years back. So you do get the sense that like it was so much more planned and calculated, and like it brings all of the pre-96 isn't it, what I'm trying to say is like he's bringing a lot of like his history, a lot of his upbringing, a lot of like his pre-rap career into it, and that's probably what makes it so iconic.
I think a lot of people, their first album was the album they always wanted to make, right? So once they kind of got out the system, they can talk about everything else. But it feels like with him, like it feels like the album you want to end on. It feels like, do you know what I mean? It feels, it's kind of the complete opposite. It feels like I hate to say it feels like he kind of regressed kind of the other album, because I felt like he's just more in the moment and he's talking about all these flashy things, and Jay-Z was kind of like the I guess the standards for what was cool, you know what I mean? The cars you're driving, the clothes you're wearing, all that stuff. Whereas before that, he wasn't on any of that beforehand. So it's kind of weird. It kind of feels like the opposite of like Royce the 5'9", where it's like, oh, I'm gonna make a mature album now. It feels like, no, I'm gonna do that first, and then I'm gonna get into all the bullshit after. So yeah, very very strange. But then somehow he got more fans doing that, like just more and more fans, whatever. Yeah, no, 100%. And I think it's because I think it's like you know, you try to go into the, you know, the what's it, the labyrinth, you know, as Theseus, right?
Yeah.
And he brings the rope with him, right? I think this is the rope home. Like, no matter what Jay-Z does, no matter how ignorant he gets or stupid he does, you're like, oh, okay, but this is home.
Yeah.
Remember, he has this, and I think that's what makes this album, man, very integral to his career and much of hip hop, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I was gonna make a joke about his album with R. Kelly, but that's a good note to end it on. Yeah.
But yeah, no, go and check it out if you want to. The vinyl, you'll never be able to afford it because you're broke, bitch. Like,
I had a note written down to anyone that has that vinyl, to anyone that knows where the vinyl is. Let me know.
It's literally like 3 digits. Like, this is not attainable.
I've been watching one on eBay and it's 180.
Yeah, like it's
not gonna
because
happen.
again, because it was a single distribution deal. So any of those that are out there, I mean, imagine when JC dies, mate. Woof, sitting on a gold mine right there, mate. So
maybe I'll invest. But yeah,
but yeah, go and check it out, guys. Yeah, if you haven't listened to the album before, if you just like, you know, if you like Jay-Z album, you haven't listened to all of them, this is definitely one to check out. It's a different side of Jay-Z. You're never gonna get it probably ever again, to be honest. So yeah. That's it. I mean, that's it for me.
As we do every week, we have our Now and Then playlist. Pick one song from kind of the last couple of years, and then we do a throwback track. So yeah, I'm going to start us off. My Now song is going to be "Chivalry Is Not Dead." Okay. If you're, if you follow us closely, you might know top head that is one of his song of the days.
I don't think I did. That's bullshit.
You did?
I had the other one. No, I had Stone or Lavender.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh well, I'm a fan of this. So that's my Now song. My Then song, because she was featured on this album, is going to be "All That I Can Say" by Mary J. Blige.
Okay, fair, not bad.
All the way back to 1999 with that one.
Cool.
What have you got?
My Now song. Do you know what name I still can't get out of my fucking head? Because I saw that Kano made a song with her recently. It's Green Tea Peng. Like, I know this is random. Fuck me. That is an awful name.
No.
Oh my gosh. That is right up there with NBA Youngboy. One of the worst names ever in rap. Literally. But my Now song, I'm going to put Corso by Tyler, the Creator, because, I mean, fuck me. That's amazing. That is a ridiculous fucking song, mate. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My Then song. Oosh. Let's think. Definitely not Last Minute. My Then song will be Bound to by Kanye West.
Okay. I was listening to the sample, the original today.
Oh really?
What are the odds? Cool. Great. Cool. So yeah, you can find these on our Now and Then playlist. Critically acclaimed Now and Then playlist, only on Spotify.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, you can find our socials again at TVC Pod on Twitter, at Vinyl Collective Pod on Instagram. This episode is obviously out wherever you're listening to it, whether you're listening to it on Spotify. You can also find it at Apple Music, YouTube, Google Podcasts as well. So yeah,
fucking listen to it. If you're on Google Podcasts, man,
you can unfollow right now, and then you can go and get a Spotify subscription because it's free. Yeah, that's us. Episode 37.
Cool. Yeah, man, it's chugging along nicely. See you guys next week.